All right. Happy Monday out there. If you're tuning in this evening, if you're tuning in at another time, happy whatever day it is. So I'm going to get right to it. I'm here in the studio with our wonderful Jay, the engineer, and my co executive producer and co host, T Mac. I don't know, the illustrious T Mac McKinney from Greenville, North Carolina. So, what's up,
Good
T
evening,
Mac?
everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening to you, Jazzy and Jay.
Yeah, so it's great. I was calling it close with this train system. It seems like when you're running late or you're pressed for time, everything happens. I mean, it's just amazing, this transit system. But anyway, you're lucky you don't have to deal with it anymore.
Well, when I come there, I do with it,
Well, you
it,
deal when you come, yeah. But this is
no,
just. Hmm.
I'm saying down here, it's like if you don't have a car, then it's worse than that transit system because you're not going anywhere if you don't have a car.
But I don't think too many people live down there without a car. I mean, you wouldn't. But anyway, we had a great show last week, don't you think? To wrap up a Black History Month, we
Yeah, I
had
think it was good. That was very stimulating for me.
we have Mr. Serge Valcourt, the poet, and you know T Mac is quite a poet himself. You'll have to recite some of your poetry sometime.
Okay, then if you give me some advance notice, I shall do that.
You have all these hidden talents
I
that
don't
you
know
have
what
to
I don't know about
explore.
I don't know about I don't need that. I don't know about the talents. Um, inclination is maybe a better word.
Okay. So you're listening to the Jazzy Joy Keeping It Real show here at City World Radio. You know, I think we have some slots here. This is a lot of fun, isn't it, T Mac? This radio,
Yes.
doing this radio thing is fun.
Yeah, I
It's a
think it is.
great
I think
platform. Yeah, not only is it fun, it's a great platform um, to explore ideas and just tackle a lot of issues that we have
right.
today. And so, if anyone's interested, I mean, you know, it's City World Radio. You can contact us at cityworldradio.com
I
and
think
have
that
your own
like
show.
to further your point, I think you know, germane to the name of keeping it real, this gives us the opportunity to pursue trending events and activities and things that are happening. So from a real perspective, and I'm sure other people would like to do things in the genres that they find stimulating. So that would be a good thing for them to do. I think try to develop a platform like this. Thanks to
Absolutely,
you, we
because a
have this
lot of these
opportunity.
shows here, not just ours, but a lot of these shows, you have the AC Low show, Bill Russo, um, I'm missing the name, the guy that was here last week. Oh my God, what is his name? But anyway, we have a
Oh yeah.
lot of. Well, you can go to the website and we have a list of shows, and they're all interesting, innovative, introspective, whatever you need, and of course we have music too, so live guests. So it's a place to be. So we
Well, art,
welcome anyone.
art is an expression of within a particular genre. It is emotional expression, and that's what basically this is all about: is having a platform for emotional and intellectual expression. So I think that there's an array of opportunities here for people to get involved.
Absolutely. So I was thinking what we should talk about today because I'm looking at and watching a lot of, I guess to say, podcasts on YouTube about this movement. This what do we call it? The woke movement. right? WOKE, woke.
Well,
So, T Mac, are you woke? And what exactly does that mean to be woke? Hmm.
I mean, there's probably a lot of different definitions of it, and I think that one of the things that we can attempt to do this evening is to try to bring some clarity to it from a variety of perspectives.
Yeah, because it's a
What do
lot
you
of
think?
that going on. We're talking about people are not anyway. Let's go with, because some people might say, well, it's a woke, it's awaken, it's awake, but we call it woke. You might want to tell us a little bit about that, T Mac. Like,
Okay. From my from my the little research I did, thanks to you, um, the definition that I have seen is woke is a slang term that is easing into the mainstream from some varieties of a dialect called African American Vernacular English, sometimes called AAVE. In AAVE, awake is often rendered as woke, as in I was sleeping but now I'm woke.
oh, so like,
And
yeah, like we're sleeping, not really being aware of what's going on,
yeah,
but
woke
we're
is
woke.
increasingly used as a byword for social awareness.
So that's in the
Wow.
African American vernacular, the woke, right? We call it being woke, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was asleep but now I'm woke, yo. I
And
woke.
actually, I don't know how true, because I'm not sure, but I did some research and it said it came out of the Black Lives Matter movement, being awoke, and some may look at it as a political term, of course, of African American origin, and we
Mm.
say basically it refers to the perceived awareness of issues concerning social justice and racial justice.
That's what the word means, or in that vernacular, or that's what the platform represents that the word defines.
Well, it's a political. I mean, it's seen as a political term, that means that if you are woke, you are aware of the issues concerning social justice and racial justice in this country. So
So that
that's
knows,
being, because some people are not really aware of all the injustices that are going on. I believe
and
it or
and
not, they think everything is fine.
and
But
I think I think I heard somewhere, or maybe I think you might have said it to me in one of our conversations, that woke was evolved out of the Black Lives Matter platform,
right, yeah,
um,
hmm
and it is part of that. It's a sub platform in and of itself. Of the awoke platform, or woke platform, or it's not just a word, but it's symbolic of a movement, right? So,
right.
mm,
Yeah, it's basically
that's interesting.
it's a movement. There are groups of people who get together and discuss these issues and try to find solutions to these issues. So it's actually a movement.
Well, I
Yeah.
think for me it is it's indicative for me and for where I'm at in my head as as more of a social awareness in terms of what has caused us to be asleep. What we're awoke to, but what has also caused us to be asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my rebellious nature, and the analytical process that propels that nature. Um, I tend to look at things as is all being result of certain types of indoctrination. All right,
Right.
and for me being woke, um, symbolizes coming to terms or to grips with indoctrination, which is not necessarily valid. All right, but is has become habitual, has become part of our rituals and our indoctrination. All right? Um, so I mean, for me, woke is about challenging those perspectives that we're inculcated with from the time that we're born. So I mean that might be a bit extreme or abstract, but I think that for me that's fundamental to waking up.
Right. I agree with you.
Mhm.
I have some interesting. I just want to throw in there some interesting quotes about society and how we need to stay woke and why. But one interesting, it says society has become so fake that the truth actually bothers people.
Mm.
That people. I mean, and that's part of being woke because you don't want to know that some people they just don't want to know the truth.
Now that's a hard thing to grapple with because being from different vantage points, being from different subcultures, we have different truths, right? So if you're talking about a truth that's manifested by the dominant culture, which may be a totally different truth than me as a black person or as a black man, as a black person, and then as a man, may have some different variations of that truth.
But
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I understand, but you almost sound like alternative truth. I mean, I don't believe in alternative truth. The truth is the truth. I mean, like well, I think how I'm reading into it is that what is actually happening, people don't want to know.
Well,
That's
and
what
I'm
I
saying
mean
that,
by truth. I
I'm
don't
not saying
mean,
all.
I think you're going a little bit deeper with the word truth.
Well, I'm not
But,
saying yeah, but I think it's relative. I think what I may see as truth in certain situations, you may not see as truth.
but I'm not. But see, that's what I'm
Now
saying.
there are some fundamental truths. I grant it. There are
And I
there's
think that's what it means. It's like people are
with,
bothered by knowing what is actually happening.
right,
Like they don't want to know what is. So I think the word truth means just what is happening, and then that
right,
can't be what
but
I
what
think
is
is happening. What you
is
think is happening is happening.
what is happening or the impact of what is happening is a matter of perception.
Well, see that, see, brother.
Right. I
I
mean,
think that's
I'm
where
saying,
I have to disagree. I think you're going too deep.
within a certain given parameter, within certain given parameters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those parameters are programmed and established into us. We see the truth of the eyes of those parameters, right? So, but there's some basic truth, like it's there's day and night. That's
Right.
something that's indisputable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though that is still defined by day and night is a definition. But there's now when you start talking about things like wrong and right, which people often
Mm-hmm.
attribute their perception of wrong and right as being true, right? And I guess it depends on what you subscribe to, in the fundamental foundation of your life.
But I'm not reading into that. I'm like saying, for example, it's indisputable the incarceration rate of African American males. We have statistics on that. That kind of truth is what I mean. That's how I read it. So some people don't even want to know that. So that's not my perception. That's actual. That's reality. I mean, that's what's actually is the case. They have the statistics on it. So I mean, I read into it and see. But you see, it's interesting because you hear the word truth and you hear something different from what I hear. Because I don't hear what deeply. I hear, okay, these are the things that's happening, and people are bothered by knowing what is really going on. That's what I read into it.
Right, and I think that's the external truth. That's the surface truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's truths that propel those kinds of things. I guess is what I'm talking about as well. I'm saying, okay, it's good to know the truth that the incarceration rates are that way. But there's a truth that's fundamental to that is about how that happens, why that happens. All right.
Mm-hmm. And people don't often think about.
How can we deal with that? How can we make changes in that reality so that it is no longer the truth?
Right. I mean that's what we need to do. I just want to read this one before we continue. It's kind of funny about the government. It says, "Don't steal, don't lie, and don't cheat. The government hates competition."
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one way to look at our government. But yeah, it's like opening your eyes to as you said, not to realize all the indoctrination, how we're influenced by media, social media, and just be aware that these things are happening.
Yeah, I think that
to
control
and that's
I think for
thinking.
the purpose of our the level of our conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we're propagandized to see things and to believe things a certain way, which in a lot of cases, is propelled by us staying asleep, right?
Right.
Not they say ignorance is bliss, which a lot of times it is, but then when you become aware and you begin to start to challenge what it is that you have been led or taught to believe, and that is what structures your behavior, your attitudes, right? Then it becomes a mechanism of control, right? So, and oftentimes this control is designed to facilitate one segment of a population's domination over another.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes truth can be a strategy of dominance.
Yeah, whose truth it is. Yeah.
All right. I mean, and I'm saying, becoming woke, right, is about challenging those things that maybe subjugate us as a people or as segments of a human race or as gender, all right, and for the benefit of another segment of that human race.
And I'm glad you said that because, it says it's an awareness, and the problem is, like, going back to the expression, ignorance is bliss, the question becomes, so, okay, now you're aware, but some people feel like I might know these things, but what can I really do about it? Like, I'm really powerless to do anything about it, so it's better not to even know.
And that's the catch-22. That is the catch-22.
Yeah, because what can you do about? I mean, the government lies and cheats, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean,
you're aware.
Sometimes I think you have to engage with people who are, and that's what I think the woke movement is about. Is starting with a platform that engages people who have like minds, all right,
mm-hmm.
who collectively can develop a strategic plan on different levels, right? To confront and dissolve or change the things that serve to degrade us or to belittle us or devalue us, in order for us to empower our lives.
But what do you say to the naysayers? I mean, because you know me, I'm kind of like sometimes doomsday. But what if they say you really can't do anything about it? What do you say to someone that says, well, okay, I know and I'm aware of these things, but we really can't do anything about it because they have all the power?
Well, I say, well, you stay asleep because either you're a part of the problem or you're a part of the solution. And if you're part of the problem, then you're in the way.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to see a little later on in the show what others might have to say about this. What others think. We'll give them an opportunity to call in. But
Right.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
do that a little bit later. Yeah.
I think that it's we get into it sometimes from like you said, from a very deep or intricate philosophical look at it. But actually, it's very basic. If something is not right with you, then look to change it. And if it's not right, then you need to understand why it's not right, and that's what's making it, what's keeping it from being right, and that's what woke. That's what
But
woke
it's easy to
is.
say look to change it, but I mean, some people might not see a way to change it, and they feel like they can't, like they're powerless to change it. And
Well, I think we all are kind of like in that situation currently. I mean, look at if you want to look at it from a broader perspective, look at the politics in this country right now. Look at the things that are from my vantage point anyway, so drastically wrong that it's hard to understand and to how it can continue to exist like this. Why is there if we know if we and that's the cognitive dissonance of it. If we know and we see that the electoral college is not enabling one vote per person, which enables the election process to be manipulated, but yet still we go along with it. If we know that there are problems inherent in the concept of government for, by, and of the people, and that's not happening, and we allow it. So, I mean, sure, we sometimes we do feel disempowered not to be able to do things. But I think that having the dialogue about it to increase increasing the awareness is a first step.
yeah, because first you have to be aware of it, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can try to take steps to make some changes. But if you're not even aware, there's nowhere to go.
And a lot of
Absolutely.
times, if you are, even if there are people who are aware and just are content for whatever reason to let it go. All right. I don't know if you watched or heard reference to the Cohen hearings this past week.
About
And some of the Trump's lawyer.
yes,
I mean that to me that was like very, very telling, but it wasn't really something that I was surprised. It was just how do people just just go along with it and justify it and rationalize it and no, it's okay, all right. I just they some people choose not to be woke because staying asleep benefits their survival, or us, or keeping us sleep, keeping others sleep benefits
right.
their survival.
Yeah, it's like they don't want you to be
Yeah, woke.
woke.
And that's the sad part of it, because a lot of us just fall into that trap, and then we just marinate there. We just stay there, and we don't. Well, this is how it is. This is how it's going to be. I can't do nothing about it. So let me just march to the beat.
Yeah, it's it. I think as I say, there is a lot of apathy, and I think it's because people don't believe that they really. I mean, because they have seen that we've been marching, we've been protesting, and they feel like nothing's really changing. It's like we're going right back to the 50s and the 60s.
Well, the only thing that marching, I think marching, and because I was of the mindset, we need to stop all this marching and carrying on. But I think that what marching and complaining does achieve is it keeps it focused. But now keeps a focus on it rather. But in addition to that, then we need to have some type of action to address it. Not just keeping focused on it. Because people say, well, go ahead and march. You can march all you want and protest all you want. If y'all ain't doing nothing, fine. At least you marching. We know where you are when you're marching. We know what you're doing, right?
Right.
So, it's no longer a threat to what to our survival strategy. For the dominant culture, all right. But when you start marching and then taking corresponding action, right? And you start coming up with other things, and I think what is so telling to me is a lot of the news. Now that the House, the Democrats, so-called Democrats, won the House, right?
Right.
And you see a lot of new faces, a lot of young faces,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of people propelling different agenda.
Right.
That you see the old rank and file really getting flustered, right? Oh, they really they're trying to galvanize around pushback, right? No matter how flawed it may be, or how racist it may be, or how violent it may be, it doesn't have to make sense. It's about it's us and they, the left against the right, and we got to make sure that they don't take our spot.
Right.
And I don't think that's totally the agenda. Completely, it's trying to take your spot. It's trying to be inclusive, trying to be more inclusive in a decision-making realm, so that we have some input about what impacts our lives. Not just having you make decisions of what affects my life, but having someone who thinks along the same lines as me have a decision-making opportunity.
Right. Yeah, because that's what it's all about. Is putting back some control, or putting some control into your life, instead of having others control what's right and what's good for you.
Right. So, and that's what I was, my whole point about what's right. Right is, real is propelled by a certain agenda. If by telling me this is the proper way to live, you have you go 9 to 5, you work diligently, you work hard, and you come home and you buy your little house, and you have a white picket fence and 2.2 children and all that. That establishes a behavior pattern, right?
Right.
That's conducive to control, right? If you follow these guidelines, then those of us who are really in power, find it easier to control you, and then which enables us, the 1%, to benefit more. Because
mm-hmm.
you become complacent, and you become accepting, and like, okay, this is my lot in life. Get up at 6, be to work at 9, right?
Right.
Work at 5, come home, buy some groceries, maybe an occasional steak, or take a little vacation once a year, right? And
mm-hmm.
And be a good law-abiding citizen.
Right. And then everything is going to be
This keeps a society intact. A society that is designed to benefit those on the top. As a result of the work of those in the middle and on the bottom.
Right. That's it.
No.
I mean that's what it's all about. I mean, keeping and maintaining that control.
And not just for control's sake, but for control so that I continue to reap the benefits.
Right.
Why do I need 3 yachts and 5 or 6 planes and 6, 7 houses, mansions. Why do I need that when the people who are facilitating and holding up the society have a 30-year mortgage on one house and a car note for 7 years, and just so they could be in the American dream.
Yeah, that's another story right there, because I'm teaching cultural awareness to non-native speakers of English, and we're talking about, does the American dream really still exist for a lot of people?
You're gonna get your ass fired. Good.
I'm gonna get fired. But I always end with, "But hold on to the dream." I mean, it is still possible, but I think, like I said, I don't want to carry this awareness over, because I don't want to discourage people, because this is the land of opportunity for many immigrants, and I don't really want to spoil it for them. But I just wanted them to be aware that there are many people that are not living the American dream.
Yeah, and this
Born
land
here.
of opportunity. The opportunity is that you have an opportunity to live a marginal life, so you can ensure that people have a certain 1% have a fabulous life.
Right.
We'll give you a little, you can get a few little crumbs and you can get a few little benefits, and as long as you behave, right, and don't rock the boat. See, and that's what woke means to me. Is like, come on now, why am I subscribing to this?
Yeah,
I'm woke.
that's right.
I'm
right.
woke.
Mm-hmm.
I know, why am I going for this? I mean, if you look like the configuration of a pyramid, right?
Right.
There's that one sharp point at the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which everything seems to evolve to that point on the top. But what keeps the top up? The bottom and the middle, right?
Right.
So if the bottom and the middle decide we no longer want to deal with this, that 1% on the top is going to have to comply, or and make concessions, and come on and share in the wealth. And that's why they're so afraid of socialism, right? Because socialism means sharing in its true sense.
Yes, and they definitely don't want anything that resembles socialism.
Because it's a threat to that construct that keeps them wealthy and rich.
And now, the woke movement started as part of, or it is part of, the Black Lives Matter movement, but it's going across. I think ethnic groups and racial because we're not the only ones woke.
Right, no.
A lot of the working class.
It's ultimately economic in nature.
Exactly. Like, people are beginning, and that's part of being woke. You're beginning to see that it's economic. It's not, we were thinking it's racial. It has to do with skin color. But now they're realizing it's really economical.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer in that racism is a tool of capitalism. Racism.
Say it again.
Racism is a tool of capitalism.
All right. Yes.
You can use racism to keep people divided and keep people distracted and to keep people, so you don't look at the you don't focus on the economics behind it.
Right.
People at each other and over some external thing, external feature, you don't see, like, the white person and the black person are both poor, even though one might be more deprived than the other because of the way the structure was set up and who was set up to benefit. But in the final analysis, poor people are poor people. And if you're on a boat and everybody's poor, even though you might be on a different deck, right?
Right.
If the boat sinks, everybody's going down.
That's true.
Except the people who can hop in the elevator hop in a helicopter and fly off.
Yeah.
So that's like, for me, that's woke. Like, damn, that makes some sense. Why do I dislike him and he's struggling just like me? Because he's black?
Yeah, I mean,
by me focusing on him being black and him being a threat, or the Mexicans coming, or whoever is coming, that keeps me from focusing on the real issue.
And I think a lot of people are woke to the real issues now. Like they're beginning to see what's the real issue or the real problem, and that's good. So I want to put the question. The question is out there: are you are you woke? And what does that mean to you? So we're gonna take a little music interlude here. We had a group here called Sangha Tierra. You have to forgive me my my accent, but Sangha Tierra. And it's a song called I Wanna Know. Think might be appropriate. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, so that was Sangha Tierra, and the name of that tune, I Want to Know. So, yeah, look them up. It's Sangha. Tierra is Tierra. Some great music in there. Sometimes play at SOBs, so you might want to check them out. It's great performances. Okay, so we're going to give you an opportunity to call in. The number is 646-690-2976. Again, 646-690-2876. Want to give you an opportunity to express your opinions, what it means to be woke. Do you consider yourself woke? And just whatever you think, whatever comments you would like to make, or any questions you might have. So, uh, please, we'd love to hear from you. If you are
Well,
out there and you have a chance to call in, please do so.
I have a question. I'd like to start it off.
Sure. What's your question?
Jazzy Joy, are you woke?
You want to put me on the spot there? That's
All
what
right, right on the tip of the spot.
I consider myself woke. Yeah, I really do, because a lot of things I had I don't know, I was blind or deaf to. I think I have a better understanding of how this whole system works, um, and what it's doing to us as people, and so yeah, I would definitely say I'm woke. What about
Yeah,
you?
in the vernacular of the what they call our our language, our speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was awoken. Huh? you know, uh, my awakening was evolutionary. Right? I mean, at different stages in my life, certain realities crept in, or certain, as a result of certain experiences, and that made me like, well, this seems a little hypocritical. This seems, wait a minute now, why am I? Because they tell me the things they tell me don't seem to be, all that they say it is. For instance, the whole, go to school, get a degree, right?
Right.
And you will get that degree, boy, and the world will open up to you. It may be helpful in achieving a certain status, a certain economic status, right? But that's constantly changing, right? Once a high school diploma was the epitome
Right.
of access, right?
Right.
Then you got the associate's degree was the epitome of access, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then and that they don't, but no one tells you that it's going to change. So when you get that degree, you're like, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready to conquer the world.
Exactly. But things are constantly changing, and the BA degree is almost like a high school diploma. So then they say, well, now it's not good enough just to have a BA degree. You need a master's degree. And then in many cases, a master's degree, it depends on what subject you major in. A master's degree is not even good, especially if you want to teach in a university. They prefer you have a PhD degree.
So realizing the hypocrisy in a lot of that, right?
Right.
Or maybe not even hypocrisy, but the how it, being able to navigate it, understanding how things change, and understanding that just the basic concept is not stationary, right? The basic concept is transitional, right? When you become to that realization, you become awoke, right? And you say, well, listen, I'm not necessarily going to pursue this way, or it gives you options. When you become awoke, you have the ability to exercise or to formulate, to investigate, and then to access different options.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's like an answer to people that say, well, really, what can I do about it? That's the reality, and I really and it's changing, and I can't. Well, that's one thing you can do about it. I mean, that's one way that being woke is beneficial. You start looking at other options. You start thinking of other ways, and that would be a good answer to that question.
I was looking, and then another vehicle for becoming awoke is becoming woke is listening to different perspectives, right? What's Chopra? What's his first name? Chopra.
Deepak Chopra.
Say it again.
Deepak.
Deepak, right. I was watching. He was on North Carolina Public TV this weekend, right, on Saturday,
okay.
right? And I recorded it, but I was watching him, and he was, I mean, some of his concepts or what his belief system is, it's so refreshing, once you begin to understand it, but it's also awakening. It's awakening.
Well, the term is awakening. It is an awakening.
I know it's awakening, but I'm trying to be.
But you being
woke.
I know.
I'm trying to be vernacularly correct.
Well, it goes hand in hand. You are woke, or you're not woke, and it's an awakening.
Facetious as well.
Yeah, it's an awakening.
Yeah.
So what was he saying basically?
Right. Yeah. Well, if you're aware of his concepts, which I know you are, because you have, steered me in that direction.
He's a wonderful guy if you meet him in person. I mean, really. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's so at peace, right?
Yeah. Very peaceful.
And he was talking about struggle and stress, and that like certain things you have to like kind of remove the stress because you to know your inner self and become and let that be more of a propeller than doing what you think people want you to do. All right, and almost like what some of the previous hosts on the show tried to articulate, dealing with the now, just dealing with the now, dealing with what's the reality now, right?
Right.
Not
I can't
up.
believe you saying it, but anyway. But
from the vantage point that he and I have to watch it again to refresh my memory, to be able to tell you like succinctly what it was, what it was or what he means. But I gathered the general concept, right? Is about dealing with things as they are, right?
Right.
And not being caught up in how they were or how they may be.
Mm-hmm.
If you deal with things how they are, then that propels your ability to handle how they may be, to influence how they may be.
Right.
But if you jump some steps, you're not going to be able to to navigate this successfully because you're going to be stressed out. Stress impacts the functioning of all of our organs because they're supposed to work in harmony. And when you have stress in your body, you disrupt that harmony.
Right.
And then you start getting illnesses and sickness and all kind of. And he said, well, people who meditate, that's what they're bringing the harmony that's of their organs and that of their existence into sync.
Right, and I think more people would get involved in that and trying to be centered and meditate if they really understood the benefits of it physically. A lot of people don't realize how powerful the mind is over the body. So
right.
Yeah.
I agree.
And that's what he talks about. Yeah.
And a lot of people also don't realize how powerful their indoctrination is, right?
Oh yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Indoctrination is, especially when the indoctrination of it is culturally specific, it's culturally beneficial, and it's propelled from the time that you come out of the womb.
Right.
It's propelled as truth from the time that you come out of the womb, exclusive of all other, philosophical or conceptual options.
And it's just so hard to to break out of that indoctrination. I mean, we might have to hold it there. Yeah, I mean, we definitely will continue this conversation. But before we leave the air, I would like you to give us a little preview of what's going to happen on the 18th. On March 18th, we're going to have very interesting guest who was once a guest here and very popular with her own show, and she's involved in many. So I'll let you tell it. It's going to be March 18th.
We've had on the show before an individual who I think has a lot going on, right? Her
Absolutely.
name is Catherine Shalisa Warren. She is on Facebook under that name, Catherine Shalisa Warren Bishop. She's responsible for the Movement TV. She's on the Bronx Net TV.
With
she's also on the One channel or One network. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And her shows often deal with issues of everyday life. Relationships.
I think that people are not that comfortable talking about. She tackles issues, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like relationships, the sex in relationships, religion.
And talking about keeping it real. She keeps it real.
She keeps it very real. All right? Lately, we have her and I and some other people have engaged in this on Facebook dialogue about men, which I often discuss with you as well, right?
Right.
And about this the issue of emasculation, right? Male emasculation by females who have had maybe some negative experience with a man,
mm-hmm.
and choose to paint all men with that brush, right?
Right.
Or choose to subscribe to a limited view of what a real man is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was on one of her shows once, and we talked about that. Recently, like I said, she illuminated some of her experiences with, a certain individual or two individuals where it didn't work out well, and this, and then, and then it kind of resonates with me as men. That's what I'm hearing: men this and men that. And there's another individual that also subscribes to that. I won't get into finger pointing, but I think that Kat is going to come, as we affectionately call her, Kat. We've invited her up to the show to team up with Jazzy Joy, all right? And we're going to go at it about this whole thing about men this and men that and what men do and all men want and all,
And we're going to post it up early and keep you informed up until the date so that you don't want to miss this show.
Yeah, you don't want to miss this show. And we want to provide an opportunity for you to call in and get involved. Because
it's going to be hot. It's going to be popping.
I'm taking the gloves off.
Yeah, I know. You can't wait, huh? You say you're not going to let us bash you, right?
Yeah, y'all bash me back and forth like a ping pong ball because of what somebody else did, right? I'm tired of carrying the weight and burden for some irresponsible or somebody who knows.
I hear you. So it's going to be really something. So you want to tune into that.
And popping.
Again, that's going to be this month, March 18th. And I think we're going to close it there. We were able to go over a little time. So, but that's going to be it for this evening. We'd like to thank you for tuning in. And until next week, we'll peace and stay woke or become woke.
Yeah, stay woke, become woke, or woke up. Good night, America.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how.